I have a dream. This is not the nightmare Martin Luther King had in mind. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, January the 14th, 2024. And of course, tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day. And of course, his famous speech, I Have a Dream, among all the other great things that the man did. But he certainly didn't have in mind this nightmare that we have seen brought to this country from this administration, the amount of hatred, the amount of racism. This is not what was depicted in the speech of I Have a Dream. This is I have a nightmare, and of course the nightmare continues to get worse and worse as we continue to watch the President of the United States dismantle everything that is good and create things that are bad, create separation, create destruction by continuing to allow the illegal immigration, by continuing to allow the Fed to do the dirty work for him, which is what this rally has been based on. We have jobs disintegrating as we see not only Amazon laying off people, but Citigroup and everybody else. But let's keep telling everybody how good the jobs number is. Let's keep telling everybody how good the inflation is as it continues to run to the moon. So how is the Federal Reserve going to cut rates? The organization that should be ended, okay, or at least audited. But of course, we don't have those rights. But I think we make a big mistake because we, as Americans, are the boss. We are the ones who put these idiots in office, okay? And you have the right to speak up, okay, if you do not agree with what is going on. And we're allowing the current administration and others to stamp you down and make you run from the problem rather than try to fix it. And of course, there is no better example of that as RFK Jr. is now trying to assure that he can get on the ballots nationwide. Now, this is again a problem that we have talked about here in the past, okay, that you can't get on every ballot. So basically, we have two shitty choices. It's either a Democrat or a Republican, okay? There is no other alternative in most of the ballots throughout the country. And that is indeed a problem because, of course, that is not really what America was built on. But so you have Kennedy trying to get on all 50 ballots, which is, all 50 states, which would be something that would be just a wonderful situation that we could finally resolve. But I will bet you that it will not happen. Okay. You've got Citigroup, as I mentioned, laying off 20,000 employees. You've got Amazon laying off another 10,000. You've got Meta laying off. You've got Google laying off. Not to mention the companies that are being folded up. Okay, and of course, you've got a disaster in the EV business, in the EV market. Okay, and again, I'm not a believer anyway, so I could care less about the EV crap that's going on. But I do feel bad for the workers that work there. Okay. Again, I'm not a believer in climate change. I think that it's a total smoke job. Okay. That is my opinion. Again, you don't have to agree with me and I don't have to agree with you. That is the one beautiful thing about a free country, unlike what you're watching in China as they're being pummeled by deflation, as the trade and credit labor strikes, as their protests are exploding. And, don't kid yourself. There's an interesting dichotomy in countries. There's a lot more poor. And if they could ever organize themselves, they could rise up, okay, and take care of a lot of things that you don't think they can do. But of course, one of the biggest concerns is they can never get organized to do something. But all it would take is somebody, you've watched, I'm not going to mention names, but you've watched from these protests of Wall Street to other things that have been orchestrated by those who want to control this country. Well, you don't think that they could orchestrate something worse? I think you have to. I think you have to look at it from a concerned citizen. You don't have to be a patriot, but you are an American, okay? And if you're an American, then your country should come as one of the top things on your agenda, okay? And you should not allow those that hate this country, like the Squad, that would be AOC, and the rest, okay, who want to destroy your freedom and destroy your opportunity. And of course, we have the migrant crisis, which is obviously, it's not a crisis if you're looking for votes. If you're trying to buy votes, you want this illegal immigration. But of course, naturally, or fortunately, the Texas National Guard has seized the Eagle Park Pass to stop illegal immigration. Okay, now if you look and you'll see that there are cities that became sanctuary cities. Why would any city want to become a sanctuary city? Okay, to harbor illegal aliens that are mostly criminals. Okay, again, not all illegal aliens are criminals. So by the letter of the law, they are criminals. But I'm talking about the fentanyl dealers, the drug traffickers, the slavery runners. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That are getting harbored in these cities to buy votes, to have votes. Okay, to continue to allow. How else can you imagine having a mayor in the city of Chicago like you have? Think about that for a minute. Okay, and of course you've got Jill Biden out talking about what a great job her husband is doing and how Trump supporters are insurrectionists, dangerous extremists, and that Joe works hard every day. Well, it's already a fact that President Biden has been off and out of the White House about 40% of the time and not doing things for this country. Okay, and there are many that will argue at the way that those statements are of what Biden is saying, but what she's directly saying is that if you're a Trump supporter, you're an insurrectionist. If you're a Trump supporter, you're not a good person. Okay, you're against democracy. I can see no greater person that is against democracy than the current president of the United States. But we'll get into that in our commentary later. In the meantime, we need to give the banks a break. Are you kidding me? Give the banks a break? Give them a break from what? From ripping off the taxpayers? From ripping off Americans? Okay, we should give banks a break because they can spend as much money as they want. They can take as many gambles as they want to lend out, to make bad loans, knowing that they're going to get paid back. And if they don't get paid back, then they're going to get bailed out by you and me, the American taxpayer. Okay, is that the country that you want? That you can have certain businesses that are privileged, that are benefits from the Federal Reserve, okay, that can get bailed out because the emergency lending window has never been deeper right now with banks borrowing money. And when I heard on Friday, okay, as I did an interview for Fox, the person before me was talking about the banks, and I go, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Okay, we have to cut the banks a little bit more slack, because they only make billions of dollars on the backs of taxpayers. And if they do something wrong, go out of business, oh, sorry, the Fed will bail them out. Think about that the next time you look at what's going on in this system. And don't think that the banks are not over leveraged and they're not heading us and leading us to another massive meltdown in the markets. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, January the 14th, 2024. We're going to step out here for a break. We'll be back with our market report right after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Well, kids, what's up, everybody? I hope everybody's back and well and had a happy new year and had off to a good start to this year. Of course, obviously, we always talk about our sponsors. Again, look, the sponsors I have are directly correlated to the trading industry, and they are brokers or educators. And again, look, I use them myself. I have others. Okay, so it's never like you have to use them. These are people that I have vetted, that I use myself, that I think that it'd be a great opportunity for those of you to use them. If you don't use them, hey, no big deal. I would just urge you to check them out to see what it might be for you. Okay, and of course, trade your brokerage for equities and options. First of all, they're $10 a month. They save me $100 grand a year in commissions. They can automate your trading if you're using our portfolio models at no cost. Okay, still $10 a month. If you want to use our hedging software, you can license the software us and trade still at $10 a month from Tradier. Okay, try.tradier.com/Bubba. Also scrolling on the side. There's also Capital Trading Group, our partner in many of our programs, and Day Trader's Dream included in there. But again, Capital Trading Group, if you're for equity, for commodities and futures, there is no better. Okay. And again, I urge all of you, whether it be Capital Trading Group or not, if you're going to trade equities, use an equity broker. When you trade futures and commodities, use a futures and commodities broker. Do not mix the two. You will get screwed. Okay. It's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. Of course, the Well Charts, which is our new sponsor. I'm doing a webinar. I'm sure you might have seen some mail on them, but I'm doing a webinar for them. They have their big week this week. Their speaker event, and they're very good educators. They got great platforms. Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, I'll be doing a webinar for them. I'd love you to come and check it out. And if you'd like to get an invitation, please email me at bob@bubbatrading.com. You might have gotten one already, but please check it out. It'd be worth your while. And of course, our high school program, which is back in business, and we're getting ready to relaunch. So if you want to help us out, scrolling on the bottom is a link to help us out there. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horowitz, and of course, our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 14th of January. And of course, every week we give you a little bit of our market commentary and what we think was going on. And of course, we disclose what our positions are. And as the markets continue to vacillate, we got a little bit of whipsaw, last week. But we started out long, got short, ended up long. Okay. So basically, we're long across the board with the exception of the Russell and the major indices. And they're all pretty flat. They're all kind of in this consolidation, crappy position. Again, I think they're going a lot lower anyways, but not right now. Again, there's still the potential, and the tape still says they're going higher. So, which is obviously why we're long. But as we look along the rest, the dollar, U.S. dollar, we don't trade it. It's got nothing to do with the U.S. dollar. It has everything to do with the cost of trading it through one of the New York exchanges. So we can use the euro currency through the CME, same difference. But if we did trade the dollar, we would be long the dollar. And the dollar had an up week. And of course, the euro currency, which we are involved in, okay, and we are short the euro currency. And of course, that is a direct correlation with the dollar, but that is headed south. Bitcoin had a monster major move and kind of whipsawed us a little bit itself. We were short, which we did well, but then it had a big run up and it forced us to reverse. And then, of course, if you saw on Friday, it had a major key reversal, which wasn't a surprise. We kind of talked about it here, during the week that we expected to see some pullback. But again, I can't fight the tape and make that assumption. Okay. I'm not surprised, but as you know, I am a fan of Bitcoin and do think it's a real product and a real thing. Bonds and notes, okay, which we are short both. Okay. And there again, I think that they're headed significantly lower. I think that you're going to continue to watch these products. And again, there's going to be some upticks and some things that go on here. And why is that? Well, it's because you get, the overall market environment right now, which is suggesting that Fed's going to cut rates, which again, they may or may not, but I don't know how they're going to. In the meantime, we're short bonds and notes, and I expect the interest rates to go higher, which means that bonds and notes are going to go a lot lower. In the precious metals, okay, we're short gold, we're short silver, okay, and at the end of the day, gold had a big move, but again, I think that you're probably still a little bit of a pullback. in the gold markets. But again, we're a big fan of gold. Again, whatever I give you now has nothing to do with what my opinion is long term. You remember, trading is one thing and investing is another. Okay, I'm a buyer. I'm an owner of physical metals. Silver, we're short as well. Platinum, we would be short if we were involved. Copper, we are short. Okay, which again, that makes sense to what our overall opinion is, but it's not our opinion. It's the actual tape itself. The grain markets got absolutely schmottered on Friday with the WASDE report. We're short across the board, so again, it's not like it's a bad thing. I just didn't think that we'd see that much selling, and I thought that there'd be a rally off of that number. But again, in fact, it was so interesting. I was working at 2-cent trailing stop to buy corn, and I never got filled until late in the day. Okay, for 3 hours, it never had a 2-cent rally as it was getting hammered. But in the meantime, they're down across the board. Okay, and we're short across the board. And we're getting in very dangerous areas of our farmers going to plant and so on. It's something to think about. In the meantime, the meats, cattle was lower, hogs were higher, and again, that's the spread we'd like to have on. We don't trade them anymore, but we would be short cattle and long hogs. And natural gas, we're long and it's continuing to push a little bit higher. Crude oil, which had some pretty big action last week, which we are short. Okay, and at the end of the day, look, it rallied high into the resistance level based on information of what was going on hottest. And again, I still think we're going lower. Again, it's a big sign to what the economy is doing. So certainly be ready for that. And of course, in the softs, cocoa we're long, cotton we're short, sugar we're short. Sugar we're long, OJ we're short, and of course coffee we are short. So at the end of the day, look, again, I'm not going to tell you that markets are going to do anything tomorrow. I think you have to remember that markets are going to do what markets are going to do, and until they give you a reason to go the other way, you should be very patient and very careful. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, top of words. We're going to step out for our final break, come back with our commentary, and of course, our football picks for today. Well, kids, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel, but remember our partners, Trader Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, of course, Wealth Charts, which I'm doing a webinar for on Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern. If you'd like to come, just send me an email. I'll send you a link. And of course, our high school program. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and my commentary on football picks. So, as I said, and I opened up with, we are Americans. We're patriots, or should be a patriot. You should care about what happens to your country. And I think that too many of us let too many things go by without thinking about it. And we tend to look at things only in perspective to how it affects me directly. And I think what you find out, as I have quoted many times the poem from Martin Niemöller, just because the direct things that are happening right now may not have a direct effect on you, eventually they will, okay? And eventually, if you allow the current administration, will strip your freedom away. And again, listen, I'm not defending any government. I'm not a fan of neither the Republicans or the Democrats, okay? I'm not a fan of either Biden or Trump being the next president, although Trump would be better in my eyes, but I would much rather see Ramaswamy or somebody like that. Even RFK, I wouldn't have a problem with running as a central candidate. But I do want you to realize that it is your right to speak up. It is your right to talk what you're concerning about, and you should not be afraid of expressing what you think, because there's many that would think like you that are afraid to speak up as well. It's like asking a question that people will not ask, okay? When you're in a class or something, you're afraid to ask. Well, you shouldn't be afraid. You should be willing to express so that you put yourself in a position. I think that's one of the big things that we have as Americans, as long as we still have freedom. But if you want to be stymied, then continue to hide your head in the sand. Remember, it's America first, and we should always think America first, because at the end of the day, this is our country. So keep that in mind. In the meantime, our current administration does not think it's America first. Just think about all the money they've given away to everybody but America. In the meantime, for football, okay, well, we like today, okay, it's a tough card today. We like Pittsburgh not because of we think they can win. It's going to be so nasty and so cold. I don't think that Buffalo can cover the 10 points. That's really what it comes down to. The Dallas-Green Bay game is too tough, okay? I think Dallas is going to win, but I don't know if they can cover. They could kill them in the last game. We do like the Lions, okay? But it's a tough game. Again, and tomorrow, because there's no Bubba's Day update, on MLK Day, we do like the Philadelphia Eagles, which have been written off to being and banished into oblivion. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top Bubba Horowitz. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your day off tomorrow, and we'll see you back on Tuesday with Bubba's Day Update. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.